I am often asked how I approach hedging my bigger positions. And the truth is, each situation is a little bit different, but there tends to be a core underlying thought process behind how I approach my hedges. And I've been waiting for an ideal or a simple example to make a YouTube video on so I can showcase to you guys a live example. This is an iron fly in which I opened for next week. So this is it on option strat. I opened it as the markets was closed today, so at 4:01 p.m. This is it on option strat here. I'm in 3 lots of the position. This for now is the hedge, which was opened a little bit after I opened the iron fly. So I'm using the SPY to hedge my SPX position. Now, before we get into the nitty gritty and the details of the hedging, I want to first walk you guys through the approach or the logic behind why I even opened the trade. Today was the FOMC announcement, and we can see that the market sold off. It came down to this key gamma exposure area, and I have a slight bias that the market is going to be choppy in this area or slightly to the upside. However, I did an analysis for next week gamma exposure profile, and I see reasons to believe that the market can go lower, so I wanted to protect myself. However, the position I have is long delta, so if the market does bounce tomorrow, I can close it tomorrow and not even need to hold it into next week. I have some key levels just below, so I'm using multiple things that I generally look at. If you guys have been watching my YouTube channel for a while, you guys know I use the volume profile, I use gamma exposure levels on the SPY, I use the quant trading app proprietary scripts to plot levels on my charts for the SPX and the SPY and the ES, the volume profile, gamma exposure. I use all these things interchangeably, and they are all part of my analysis whenever I'm opening up a swing trade. So as the markets filled this gap, as we see here, it came down and filled this gap, my expectation is slightly non-directional but bullish. First thought process I'm going to have is a butterfly. I want to be short Vega, which means I'm expecting a reduction in volatility. The VIX happened to spike today, so this was my first thought process. How can I capitalize if implied volatility was to decrease into next week? I was looking at some iron condors, but I didn't like the risk to reward ratio. I didn't like how expensive it would have been for me to hedge, because if I was going with an iron condor, I would have used a lot more capital. So I went with the iron fly to keep my capital low, to keep my exposure or risk to the market low. And that's, I guess, the first step. If you're looking to properly hedge yourself or properly practice good risk management, the first thing is to use margin you are comfortable with. My max loss in this position is $5,200, and that is if I hold until expiration. However, I have no intention of holding this trade until expiration. My first thought process is to think if I was to hold it over the weekend, and let's just say around 10 a.m. Eastern time next week. As you can see, the position is long delta and long theta. That means it will benefit if the market goes up or if it stays choppy in this area. That is what I'm looking for. So if the market was to bounce slightly, call it 1%, this trade will be profitable. And if implied volatility decreases, this trade will squeeze out even more profit because it is short Vega. That's what this negative sign is here. Short Vega, long theta, and long delta. That is my current stance for this position. However, if the market was to break down below 0.5% or so, this is where the position is in jeopardy. My next thought process is how far can the market go if I am wrong? That is generally where I will look at tools like the gamma exposure profile. This is Quant Trading App's advanced gamma tab. This is the gamma exposure for next week's expiration. So this is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So as I look at the profile for next week, I'm also going to take a look at the absolute gamma. And if this is where the current price is for the SPYs, the market's closed. I use the SPY, by the way, whenever I'm doing an analysis of multiple gamma exposure expirations. And if I'm doing a single expiration analysis, I'll use the SPX. I think the SPY is much cleaner and it's easier for me to do a macro analysis. The first thing that stands out to me is this strike right here, which is 733. 733 is the highest net negative gamma exposure for next week. It has the highest open interest for next week, and it has the highest put open interest for this next week. So I interpret that as this is the level that traders are hedged for. If the market gets below this price, then things can be dangerous, but for the most part, below this is where I imagine traders will be protected. So this right here is about a 1.3% drop on the markets. My first thing I'm going to do is put that slice price in here, negative 1.3, and then I'm going to change the date for Monday. Now, do I think the market is going to be down 1.3% by Monday? If you ask me right now, no. However, I see enough reasons to think that it is a high possibility that the markets can be down here next week. So with that being said, I take a look at this number and I'm going to ask myself, will I be comfortable being down that much? If not, then I need to come up with a way to protect myself or reduce this level of exposure. I have all the positions open, but as you guys can see, I have everything turned off so we can just focus on this particular spread here, as this is the only positions I have for next week, and that's how I'm treating it for now. Next thing I'm going to do is adjust the volatility, because if the market was to go down, there's a high likelihood that implied volatility will increase. So let's just say 1%. Again, I'm going to ask myself, if that's the number, am I comfortable with? You guys see, if we reduce the volatility, it's not having a major impact on the P&L because the delta for this position is relatively flat. The Vega is not that large, so it is a comfortable position to swing, but that is not a risk I am totally comfortable with. So if we go over to the SPY and we see with the same slices right here, if the market was to be down 1.3%, if implied volatility was also to be up, call it this 1%, what will that do to this? It will help buffer a little bit. So that's going to cut my exposure down. Let's just call it about a little over a third. So if this is, we'll round this up for making, just to make things easier. So if that's $600 and we come here and we see this is $1,400. So 1,400 minus 600 is going to put us at $800, which is a number I am comfortable with. It is under my $1,000 allowance that I'm giving for myself for risk for next week. Under $1,000, I am comfortable holding, because then I can wait to see what's going to happen. Let's just say by Wednesday, if the market was to recover and bounce and come back into this range, that's where I'm going to play the risk to reward game in my head. Is there support down at this level? What else is there to think that this is possible to happen? Now, if we rewind for a second, let's just jump back and reset everything, make sure everything is nice in default. That is the scenario in case everything goes wrong. And everything going wrong means the market goes down, as I am, again, slightly neutral to having a slight bullish bias. If the market was to remain where it is over the weekend, this position will be up. We'll call it $700. Anyone with experience knows that's not exactly how much it will be up, as it is theoretical, because no one knows what's going to happen with implied volatility, as that will affect the P&L for this position. This right here is at expiration. At expiration, this trade will make $15,000 if I was to hold it all the way until Friday's close of next week. That is not my intention, but depending on how things go, I may hold this. At latest, I'm looking to hold it until Wednesday afternoon. So in other words, I'm looking for a peak profit of anywhere from $1,500 to $1,800. That's a sweet spot in which I would be looking to profit from. It is unlikely that I actually hit that profit target, because I would more than likely look to be out of this trade a little bit sooner than that. But as you guys can see, if I was to hold it into Thursday and then especially into Friday, this is where we start seeing some of the much bigger numbers. If we go to the SPY, I'm going to think about the same thing. If I was to hold it that long, what is the risk associated with that? If I held this until Friday, the hedge is going to be up, call it $900, where this position would be down $2,100. Is that a risk to reward that I'm comfortable with? In this case, it might be worth it, because we see that the targets can be around $4,000. So I'm essentially risking, call it $1,200 to make $4,000. That is a good risk to reward ratio. Again, the purpose of this video is to get you guys to understand something conceptually, or what I'm doing when I'm doing some sort of risk analysis for the positions in which I'm opening. There's no way to tell how this is going to play out exactly, which is why it's been difficult for me to do an exact video. I'm essentially just looking to reduce my exposure, and at the same time, if I'm right, I don't want a major drawdown. In other words, let's just say the market remains flat, so this is over the weekend, this position still has the possibility to squeeze out some sort of a profit, which is why I went with a put diagonal on the SPY. I like that even if the market was to consolidate for a bit, there's the opportunity to make profit instead of losing. So call it $80, call it $50 if you will. We'll round that down, and this makes $700, and I end up with a net $750 profit over the weekend, which is not bad. I might just close it and then open up different positions for next week with the new data that will come to us on Monday morning. Now, the next scenario is if the market is up 1.6%. Why 1.6%? Because as I look at the gamma exposure profile, I'm seeing that there's a lot of activity right here. I'm essentially looking for where the absolute gamma zone tapers off, and it looks like it's right here. So this strike price is of significance to me, and that is 755. So I'm going to come up here and see 755. I'm going to see that's 1.67% up. This is also a strike price that has a lot of open interest. This is why it has this dense blue color here. I'm aware of 760, but for the most part, the market has to get past 755 before I need to be concerned with 760. So I'm going to use this strike price right here, and that's the slice that is in the profile. So I just rounded it down to 65, so 1.65, just to make it simple and a cleaner number. If the market was to bounce, this trade will be up around $900, we'll say. And if we go back to the SPY, if the market was to bounce that much, this position will be down, call it $400. So if 900 minus 400, I walk away with about a $500 profit, and that is by Monday. And this is theoretical profit, so it's not a big win, but it is still a win because I need to account for if the market goes in the other direction. Now, what you guys will notice is that there's no cap to the downside. In other words, I wanted to have maximum exposure in case, let's just say the market was to crash or something like that over the weekend. Highly unlikely. I wanted that extreme exposure to the downside, because if implied volatility was to spike, then we all know that puts explode. So that's why my ratio is different. I'm in 5 of these long puts, and then I'm short 4 of these puts. And that ratio is what allows me to be in an extra put, and an extra put can squeeze out some major profits. And that's what's giving me the proper ratio that I like, because if I was to change this here and we go to an even diagonal put spread, this is good and all, but it's not great for the position or the amount of capital I have in this and how much I'm looking to protect if the market was to be down. If I was in just 1 or 2 lots of this, then I would generally just hedge with 3 lots or something like that, or 4 lots of a put diagonal spread. I tend to keep the margin requirements at a low because I'm telling myself I'm willing to lose this entire position, even though it is highly unlikely. Again, there's plenty of time to get out of this trade. We're talking about a 9 DTE trade. The market will be open tomorrow and then 5 days next week. So there's 6 market open days to do anything with this position. But for the most part, the intention is to stay in this trade as long as I'm in this trade. And that's another thing that's important, is when I'm structuring these things, I'm thinking of them as they are together. They are a combination of spreads, as it is part of my entire portfolio. I'm not looking to get greedy and finesse one, finesse the other. If I'm planning to do that, it has to be intended from the origin. So the moment I open these positions, I need to have a plan. In other words, I will set an alert in a chart. It might be, hey, if the market gets to this level, close out the hedge, then wait to see if a hammer candle forms. If a hammer candle does not form, then close out the original position and call it a net loss, because the hedge is not going to eclipse how much I should be down, but it's going to soften the blow. So in other words, instead of taking a $1,500 loss, might only take an $800 loss. The hedge is essentially keeping me below the threshold of $1,000. This $1,000 is just a risk I assign to myself based on the market parameters, how comfortable I am in the market right now, how much risk I have out in the market, XYZ. That changes, and that's dependent on a person's portfolio. It's dependent on how good of a quarter they're having. That fluctuates. If I'm having an extremely great quarter, I might, for the same position, give myself the risk of $2,000 as opposed to $1,000, which means I'm going to open up my risk, which means the way I choose my hedges will be different. It takes time, guys. The main point, or the main thing to think about, is how much will you be down if you are wrong. You need to know that answer when you are opening your position and you are determining your size. I am in 3 lots because that is what I'm comfortable with. There is an extreme risk for this position, or for the markets to be down at 7,320 next week. And because I am aware of that, I need to position size to be comfortable with what I can be down. Now, granted, there's plenty of time to do something between here and there, because let's just say the market is down tomorrow about 40 points or so. I can come in and maybe just grab, a 1 DTE put, or maybe a put just for Monday as opposed to a put for next week, Friday. I can maybe just go with something really cheap, something that's maybe 70 cents that might be up $3. You never know with puts, especially if the market is selling off pretty quickly and implied volatility is spiking. But for the most part, that's how these are structured. I'm also going to take a look look at the chart, of course, and see if these levels coincide with anything of significance. If the market was to be up 1.65, what is in that area? We can see that this is a key technical level right here. I'm going to take a look. Do I have any key gamma levels on my charts currently for the current week? That's going to be around this range. Obviously, 750 is a dominant strike, so the market should stall out around here. Same thing with the volume profile. If the market was to bounce 1.6%, where does that coincide with? 1.6% puts us right in this week's volume profile area. A lot of high volume nodes, we should say. This week's point of control is in this area, so we should meet some sort of resistance up at this area. So it coincides with some sort of technical levels also. On top of that, to the downside, if the market is down 1.3%, where does that align with on the charts? Let's see, from here to here, this is 1.5%, this is 1.3. So anywhere in this region, I would expect there to be support down at 730. Does it coincide with any of the quant trading app levels? Let's take a look. 1.3 coincides right in this area here. That should offer some support for tomorrow. Same deal. If we go to the upside and the market is up 1.6% or so, what does that coincide with? All of these things I'm looking at in tandem. I'm also going to look at tools like the ADD. Where is the ADD? It trended down all day today, or at least after the FOMC announcement. So I'm not overtly bullish, which is why I didn't just look to just buy calls. I wanted something a little bit safe. There's a lot of mixed signals. Let's look at the ADSPD, similar to the ADD. These things are all getting my attention, including the Qs. Where are the Qs? So the Qs have filled the gap. It has stalled out right here. This should offer some sort of support also. That's what's contributing to me thinking to have some sort of a bullish bias, but not bullish enough for me to just be long. I want a non-directional with a slightly bullish upside, and that is the structure of this Iron Butterfly here. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, let me know in the comments down below. Let me know if you want to see more examples of positions that I might hedge in the future. Like the video, subscribe if you're new here, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.